Seems to be working now. So this is the week of Tu B'Shvat, and we're going to be celebrating trees and trees in Israel and trees all over the world, I would say. And I am so glad that we have elected a president who will support our love of trees and will support our love of the world and nature. So I am feeling like celebrating tonight. We're going to welcome Shabbat with Hine Matov, which is on page 128. If you have your Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Hine Matov La 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 Hine Matov Hine Matov La 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 Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and again, welcome this evening. We thank Linda for our music tonight. We thank everyone. We thank you for joining us. This evening, Debbie Garber is going to be leading the blessing for candle lighting. I'll be lighting the candles here in our sanctuary.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. And I might just add that you saw all that beautiful wood. I bet you miss it. Not being able to see that beautiful wood. I guess but that's part of what we get from the trees and why we're celebrating trees.
We now turn to page 142 for Hadlakat Hanerot. Pardon me, page 42. We just did Hadlakat Hanerot for Shalom Aleichem, page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nila Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
For those who are able or wish, we turn to page 100 146. Well, we turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu. For those who are able or who wish, please feel free to rise for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
And we are taught to have two blessings in our minds prior to reciting the Shema. The first one concludes, "Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening," as we think of the God of nature, the God of creation. And the second blessing, "Praise to Adonai who loves your people Israel," as we think of the God we know through Torah and through mitzvot. We turn to page 152 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vahed.
Please be seated. On page 154 is the Ve'ahavta. Linda leads us.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanacha v'dibartam bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha uv'lektecha b'derek u'shokbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yodecha v'hayu letotapot beinecha Uchtavtam al mivzot betecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru v'hasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kiroshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
And that's our service now continues on page 158 as we remember the song that Moses, Miriam, and all of Israel sang to God, lifting their voices joyously.
Ya bum bum bim bim bum, ya bum bum bim bum, ya bum bum bim bim bum, ya bum bum bim bum, ya da 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 da, ya bum bum bim bum, ya da 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 da, ya bum bum bim bum. Mi kamo ha balim Adonai, mi kamo ha nehtar bakodesh, norati lo ro sepel. No rati loro sepelle ya pam pam bim bim bam ya pam pam bim bam ya pam pam bim bim bam ya pam pam bim bam ya da 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 ya pam pam bim bam ya da 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 ya pam pam bim bam malchutecha rahu fanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, Zeli, Zeli, Anu, Ve'ameru, Adonai. ya bum bum bim bim bum, ya bum bum bim bum, ya bum bum bim bim bum, ya bum bum bim bum, ya die 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 die, ya bum bum bim bum, ya die 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 die, ya bum bum bim bum.
As Linda was leading us through the Ve'ahavta prayer, but moments ago, among the words that she chanted were Uvshoch bacha uvkumecha, when you lie down and when you rise up. Our next prayer is Hashkivenu. It's that same root of lying down. And I'm going to screen share for us the English of the prayer. And I'll have this right here on the screen. We're going to have a little bit more to say about this prayer this evening. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, Hashkivenu, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And we'll have a bit more to say about this prayer within our service. But first, to hear the first rendition of this prayer, this is a Hashkivenu, which Linda composed the melody, and she presents it for us now via recording.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim ufros aleinu sukkot shelamecha v'taknenu peitza tova milvanecha.
We now turn in our prayer books to page 162. Vishamru is at the top of the page. Vishamru, our prayer for Shabbat.
V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat l'doratam berit olam. B'nei Ruvain, b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. B'nei Ruvain, b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinapash.
We now turn to page 164. For those who are able, we invite you to rise for the tefillah. We'll be doing the right-hand pages, the even-numbered pages, beginning 164, continuing to page 170.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agi tehilatech. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur, V'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKohu, V'Zocher Chaserot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula Lifnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Abraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atavrav Lehoshia. Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim. So make noflim ve'rofei holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bagifurot, Umidor Melach, Melach Memi Tumechayei, Umasmi Yeshua. Ve'emanata lechayot ha'kol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikayeh ha'kol.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el ha'kadosh.
Please be seated. I read on page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. We now pause for silent prayer.
Yihula Ratzon, Imreti Vehegyon Libi, Lefanecha, Lefanecha, Adonai Tsuri, Tsuri Vegawali, Adonai Tsuri Vegawali. Oh, say shalom Bimrama,
We now pray on behalf of dear ones within and beyond our congregational family who are ill and in need of healing. We include Chaya Naomi Bat Sarah V'Pesach, Imam Ghazi Aga, Robert Dower, Janet and Jim Dias, Alan Elias, Zena Garber, Wendy Hoser, Ed Jantz, Jeff Levy, Leah Linton, Susan Napoti, Art Phillips, West Schoenfuss, Michael Schwartz, Alan Stein, Michael Walsh. We also pray for all people fighting COVID-19. I now invite you to unmute and say out loud the names of those for whom we likewise pray this Shabbat.
George Goldberg,
Robert Gilbert and Kate Manning.
S. Abramson,
Helene Rosenthal.
Charlotte Berman.
For all, may the Holy One send healing
Bill and Joan.
and shelter in protection.
Avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mikor habracha lehabotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Did you catch the inaugural poet, Amanda Gorman?
yes.
She demonstrated yet again the power of words and poetry. This was likewise amplified by the musical contributions at the presidential inaugural from performers including Lady Gaga, J-Lo, and Garth Brooks. Their musical performances, too, elicited strong emotions. A form of poetry often accompanied to music, prayer is not, or shouldn't be, performance per se. Prayer is a conversation with the sacred and an expression of shared values and connection, made all the more beautiful through music. My teacher, Dr. Larry Hoffman, speaks of our prayer book, the Siddur, as, quote, the lived text of the Jewish soul. We live in it and we pray in it, end quote. Yet sometimes, on nights such as this, we go through it so quickly and perhaps so routinely that we miss opportunities to appreciate the larger structure and the individual messages of our inherited prayers. For that reason, we inaugurate here at B'nai Israel a series of Shabbatot that will be dedicated to pausing to appreciate some of the prayers of our liturgy that we've lovingly transmitted from one generation to the next. We begin tonight with Hashkivenu. I chose it to start as with all that's been happening in the world. The prayer's message is protection, and it seems especially apt. The theme of Hashkivenu is divine protection, voicing the assurance that God cares for each of us. Linda first sang it earlier, just after she sang Mi Chamocha, the prayer about liberation from Egypt. That placement and context is...
One moment. Hello.
That placement, I don't know what just happened with the computer here. Hopefully you're hearing me. The placement and the context is deliberate. The message is that just as our people knew freedom from oppression, freedom from bondage, so might we be liberated from more personal terrors. The setting of this prayer is nighttime, a little prior to bedtime. It voices the plea that we might rest comfortably. That too is deliberate. Hashkivenu's imagery is of entering the dark and facing the unknown. The trust of this prayer is that the unknown night, like the unknown tomorrow, is best met through a link to the source of compassion and care. In another contemporary prayer book, not our Siddur, but another one, this meditation appears besides Hashkivenu in their prayer book as a companion text. And the prayer says, when fears multiply and danger threatens, when sickness comes, when death confronts us, it is God's blessing of shalom that sustains us and upholds us. On Shabbat, Hashkivenu concludes with the imagery of God spreading a Sukkot Shalom, a sukkah of peace, over us, over all of Israel, and over Jerusalem. The reference is to Shabbat, a time of rest, offering us a shelter in time, and also to a hope for all humankind, as Jerusalem in the Bible is understood to be the entire world's center. Our Hashkivenu prayer and its placement reflect the insight and genius of our sages. They spoke of this blessing, asking God to protect us at night and watch over us when we sleep, and positioned Hashkivenu as the second blessing after Shema at night, between Geula, redemption, and the Tefillah, as a type of lengthened Geula, another statement of redemption. Discussing this transition, the Talmud quotes Rabbi Yochanan as teaching that when the plague of darkness descended on Egypt, God upheld and saved the Israelites. As the Torah explains, and there was a thick darkness throughout all the land of Egypt for 3 days. But for all the children of Israel, there was light in their settlements. The Hashkivenu that Linda will momentarily sing in Hebrew translates, again, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Like the inaugural poet, Amanda Gorman, our own director of sacred music, appreciates how words and gesture and rhythm inspire us. While she's far less diva than Lady Gaga or J-Lo, albeit more formally dressed than Garth Brooks, Linda's presentation of Hashkivenu with the melody she selected to illuminate some of its spirit invites appreciation and reflection. Let us consider, how can this prayer speak to me? Why do we continue to voice the need for protection? What do I need defense from? And what brings me under God's shelter of peace? What do we discern in Linda's choice of melodies? And how might I feel more tucked in tonight at bedtime? Judaism counsels, Hamevin Yavin, those who understand will understand. Kain Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will. Linda?
Well, that's quite an introduction. But I did pick something about this week and God really protecting us from 4 years of terror, which is a bit of an exaggeration. But I do feel like there's a shelter of peace that somehow we've come into, and that feels really good. This tune, I do know about 5 or 6 different Hashkivenus. This tune is from Steve Dropkin, who is a modern kind of rock composer who composes for the kids at camps. But it really speaks to me. It's a very sweet melody, and I have to thank Sandy Gold for bringing this tune to me, because before she brought it to me, I didn't know it existed, but she had sung it before. So thank you, Sandy. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu makeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu makeinu l'chaim. U'proselenu sukat shlemecha u'shmor tzedkenu vo'einu. U'proselenu sukat shlemecha u'shmor tzedkenu vo'einu. Baruch atah Adonai hapoleh sukat shalom aleinu ve'hakol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen.
On Catherine's cue sheet tonight at this point, it says interactive Shabbat. And here comes the interactive segment of it. Some of the questions which I posed, but moments before Linda sang. How can this prayer speak to me? What do I need defense from? What brings me under God's shelter of peace? What do we discern in Linda's choice of melodies? Why do we continue to voice the need for protection? Now, I remind everybody that we're live streaming on YouTube, so we're up there on the internet. But if you wish to publicly share, or please feel free to publicly share a short comment or reflection, and if you wish to do so on Hashkivenu, we invite you to unmute and do so. Please don't be shy.
This is Dan Goodman. When we get back to the temple, when it's a nice warm evening or afternoon, take a walk outside the social hall entrance and look up at the pergola, our sukkah, and there's the words from the prayer, Ufros aleinu sukkat shlomecha, written on tiles, painted custom for us in Jerusalem.
And as Dan reminds us, this prayer has, and the pergola has been with us for a while. Actually, it's out that way. This prayer has long inspired us. And as I noted this evening, when we think of Jerusalem, we not only think of our capital, the capital of the Jewish people and sort of the center of the Jewish soul. In the Bible, Jerusalem was also envisaged as some sort of special spiritual capital for humankind. And in so doing, when we seek protection, we seek it not only for ourselves, but we seek it for all the inhabitants, all the people of the world, all the inhabitants of this world. Now, I know it's much easier to be interactive when we're all together in the sanctuary, and God willing, that will be soon enough, hopefully on the sooner side. Let me ask that we now turn to page 586. For those who are able, we invite you to rise for the Aleinu. The Aleinu that will be chanted is the second paragraph down on the page.
Aleinu l'shabeach lahadon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kukuye habratzot, velo samanu kimishbechot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vego aleinu kechol hamonam, Vahanahaknu korim umishtahavim umodim lifnei melech hamakim hakadosh baruch hu.
Please be seated. V'ne'emar is on page 591.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo 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 echad.
At this moment in our service, we now call to mind our own beloved dead. We pray on their behalf. We voice the confidence that they are remembered for blessing. And I ask that those in mourning or remembering the anniversary of the death of a loved one, should you wish at home, please rise when their name is mentioned. During Shloshim, we remember Ruth Becker, mother of Joel, mother-in-law of Nancy, Sylvia Myers, mother of Marty, mother-in-law of Suzanne, Howard Engel, husband of the late Sylvia Polikoff Engel, Marilyn Engelman, mother of Larry, mother-in-law of Dea, grandmother of Jacob. We remember the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Ada Abramson, Ann Alexander, Celia Baum, Devorah Rose Brodsky, Celia Fetbroth, Isaac Gaber, Anita Greenberg, Samuel R. Greenblatt, Selma Halperin, Mary Jarmack, Irving Kantrowitz, Arnold Polikoff, Harry Simon, Teresa Trorick. Should you have a dear one to add, please unmute your computer and say their name.
Oscar Benenson.
Hi Goldberg.
Ira Goldman.
Louis Hoser.
Doris Abramson.
We also remember the dead this week from COVID-19. Each Shabbat, we also mention 6 names amongst the 6 million murdered in the Holocaust, the Shoah. This week, we remember Estera Eisenstein, Bela Eisner, Joshua Azarnitsky, Malka Azarnitsky, Rachalea Azarnitsky, and Yudel Azatsky. In remembrance and solidarity, and on behalf of those for whom there is no one but us to say Kaddish, we now invite all to rise if you are able. Our Kaddish prayer is on page 598.
So stay seated.
Oh, it's okay.
Please rise if you wish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach rute, v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon, v'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah barach le'alam u'la'imei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseg v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Zichronam levracha. May their memories be for blessing, and let us say amen. Please be seated. There's so much still yet to do within our community and our nation and our world. This evening, our closing hymn, words from the Mishnah from Pirkei Avot, very famous words from our sage Hillel, im ein ani li mili, so summarize the tasks before us. Linda leads us. This is her melody, and the text will be found on page 644.
And I just might remind you that our new president will not be able to repair this fractured nation all by himself. So we all need to do our part. And this is reminds us. Imenani mili, imenani mili. If I am not for myself, then who will be for me? And if only for myself, what am I? Vim lo matai, and if not now, when? If I am not for myself, then who will be for me? And if only for myself, what am I? Veim lo matai, and if not now, when? And if not now, if not now, when?
Thank you, Linda, for tonight's beautiful music, which included two of your own compositions. Tomorrow, 10:30 a.m., Torah study. If you wish to join and haven't tried it yet, please email me to join in the fun tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning. And looking ahead, Tu B'Shvat study, which I'll be leading on January 27th at 7 p.m. As Linda mentioned at the beginning of our service, Tu B'Shvat is coming up this next week. And a week from Sunday, not this Sunday, but a week from Sunday, January 31st at 1 p.m., The New Zionism, A Case for Social Justice, Special in Uniform, presenting Israel and the core values that bind us as one people. Special in Uniform presents how the Israel Defense Forces goes beyond ensuring the security of Israel by likewise providing those who serve with valuable professional and social life skills. Youth with disabilities are given the opportunity to integrate into the IDF and serve in meaningful ways, as is explained in this program. It highlights inclusiveness and respect and care for those who might otherwise be marginalized in society. The hour-long Zoom event from 1 to 2 o'clock on January 31st is a collaboration of B'nai Israel, the Jewish Federation of Western Connecticut, the Jewish National Fund, and the Israel Defense Forces. This is an event not to be missed. May God's presence be with you and give you peace